happy and well fed. We're going to ask you to go ahead and finish your conversations and direct your undivided attention to the front. As you can see, we have a special chapel this week for you, and I'm not going to take too much time, but I do want to say just a couple things to get us started. So number one, welcome back. It's really, really nice to be in here all together again. It's good to be back in school. Good to be able to worship together in a place, not online. So yes, very excited that you all are here and that we're all together again. There are three real quick announcements. We want your attention now, please. Thank you. There are three quick announcements. Those students who had announcements, you could come. Sydney, you had one.
I do.
Yeah, so you don't need to come down. Who is the other announcement? Ella. Is Ella here? Oh, yes. All right. Three or four quick announcements.
All right. I just wanted to let you know SA is running our Valentine's Day fundraiser now, and the forms are due on February 4th. You can find them in the office or online, and they are our Lots of Love fundraiser where you can buy a Valentine's gift and send it to someone in our school. That's it.
Hi guys, this is just an announcement to the juniors that we are still having our junior walk today from 4 to 5:30. All the details are on our teams, so if you guys want to come and join us, that's going to be at 4 to 5:30 at Lake Elkhorn.
Very good. Sydney, go ahead.
I don't have an announcement that I know of.
All right, we also have an announcement from our athletic department. We got to wait, though. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been away for a little while. It's been almost 2 months since we've been together. Remember what it looks like to be respectful in this place? What it sounds like to be respectful. If your neighbor's talking to you, please just gently remind them that we are focused on something else right now. Thank you. Last announcement is from our athletic department. A reminder that volleyball workouts are happening on Sunday. Mr. Time and the time again. 4 to 6 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, volleyball workouts. All right. So again, awesome to have everybody back. This is a special chapel. It's not quite so much in the vein of pure spiritual worship this time, but a little bit broader than that. So I'm going to turn the time over to Amandine and the Care Club, and we will begin.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
So the Care Club has a special memory verse, and it's the memory verse you see on our shirts. It's the circle, and it says, give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares for you. And it's found in 1 Peter 5:7. Before we start our lovely special chapel, I would like to pray for you guys. So please bow your heads and close your eyes. Thank you, Jesus, for this nice day you gave us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to have this very important chapel to talk about our mental health. I ask you to please come into this place and pour out your Holy Spirit on each of us. Please open our hearts so that we can be blessed by what our guests are going to say. Thank you so much for loving us and for listening to us. Amen.
Well, hello everyone. We can go to the next slide, and let me say Happy New Year to all of you. I know you're like, Mrs. Bosito, it's the 28th, but this is the first time we have chapel together in person, and I miss it so much, so I'm happy. Happy 2022 for all of you. And yeah, you see it over there. The theme for our assembly is ways to stay mentally healthy in these days. We can talk about issues for days on a row, and the issues are real. We know you're in high school, and there's a lot of stress in your life. And on top of all that, we're still dealing with the pain of the pandemic challenges. So we understand, we know it's real, we know it's huge, but we also want you to understand and feel in your heart that you're not alone, and there is help, and that the grown-ups in your life, all of us, really care about you. So today we brought a fantastic panel of mental health experts. I'm like trying to pinch myself. I can't believe they all came and they came on time, and these are very important people. So I don't want to steal too much time from them. Let's go to the first slide, and let me introduce. This is not order of importance. It's just alphabetical order, because they're all equally important. So last name, alphabetical order. Dr. Alicia Barksdale. You guys forgive me if I kill your names because I pronounce them wrong. So yeah, and she's right here. She is a music therapist and an educator. I'm going to spend the whole day talking about her impressive curriculum, all her accomplishments and degrees, but I don't have the time. We are so honored you are here. Next one, Mr. Mario. We are so happy to have you here. Mr. Mario is a powerful speaker. I heard wonderful, wonderful things about him, so thank you so much for coming. Educator, counselor, therapist, blah, blah. But for those that don't know, he was a vice principal for high school here, way before I came. So welcome back to your school. All right, next one. Oh, this is Miss Valerie Carreño. Oh, and you're gonna have to forgive me because I put two pictures right here. And they look like twins. I'm so happy to have the mother of our Care Club president, dear Sydney, who is also a therapist, and she's coming to be part of this panel. Thank you so much for being with us. Next one. Jeremy, I'm so glad you're here. I have to tell you, this guy over there holds a very special place in my heart because we went through the pains of graduate school together. We helped each other to survive. We marched together, and I never saw him again until today. So I'm so happy. He drove all the way from Frederick. He also is a licensed counselor and therapist. Look at all the people that we brought to help us. And he has a lot of experience in counseling and loves working with young people. Next one. Oh, this lady also holds a very special place in my heart. We did a lot of fun things together working in women's ministries. And every time I need help with the teens for my retreats, I will pick the phone, and Erika will never, ever say no. So I love her, and I owe her forever. And this time again, she said, of course I will go there. And guess what? She came to your school. So she's also a family member. We're so happy to have you, my friend. And then, no, go back. This guy doesn't need a presentation. Welcome, the one and only fabulous, wonderful, amazing youth pastor at Spencerville. We love you, Pastor Matthew, you know that, don't be embarrassed. And he's also the father of 3 of the cutest little boys, and the third one will come here too. So he's a member of the house too. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass the mic to them because we don't want to waste any minute. May God bless all of you.
Hi, everybody. So we are going to start with one big question for all the panelists, which is, from your perspective and experience, what are some of the best ways to stay mentally healthy? So anybody can feel free to start us off.
Should we just go down the line?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I have the amazing blessing of being able to work as a music therapist, which I think is the best possible job in the world. Right now, I am the program director of the music therapy program at Washington Adventist University, and I get to work with college students, training them to be music therapists. But for many years, I worked in a high school with kids your age in the mental health team, and so I know a lot about using music to help you in specific ways to modify your mood, to energize, to become more mindful, to move your body, to relax. And I think all of those things are just of utmost importance. One of the things I'm doing right now with my college students who are studying to be music therapists is I'm asking them to make a self-care plan. And in that self-care plan, there are lots of different elements that I'm asking them to look at, every different facet of their life. And I'm sure our panelists will talk about a lot of these other facets. I'm going to focus on how we can use music, how you could build that into your personal routine. So I'm sure all of you have a number of playlists already. Raise your hand if you do have playlists. Okay. So one important thing to do is, if you are a playlist creator, or even if you're not, is to think about curating some very specific playlists. One for energizing. So when you are exhausted and tired, you have that go-to list that's going to get you pumped up, inspired, give you the energy that you need to get up and go in the morning, or in the afternoon if you're tired in the afternoon. Then you need that playlist that's going to help you relax and fall asleep, and maybe transition off of your homework or the devices you've been on or whatever that has been in the evening, and help you cool down and actually be able to close your eyes and focus on something other than the thoughts that are running through your mind. How many people have sometimes hard time falling asleep because they have things that they know they should do and they're anxious? Yeah. And some people just want to sleep all the time, and I understand that too. I was like that when I was your age. But so you need that calming technique, and that's also good for when you're feeling a lot of anxiety. If you are studying for a test and you're anxious, you can put on your calming playlist, and it's going to help modulate some of that anxiety that you have. There's also proven evidence that music actually enhances your exercise routine or your exercise workout. It's not just through motivation and through the energy that you feel psychologically, it's actually a physical enhancement. They have shown in research labs that the muscles actually work better and are stronger and more efficient when rhythmic music is played as opposed to when it's not. So I highly encourage you to use that to maximize your workout routine and to get your energy going. Or if you don't like to exercise, maybe it'll help you exercise. Play it when you're walking, or when you're walking your dog, and it will just give you that little extra energy that you need to enhance your exercise routine. And the other thing is having a playlist that is going to allow you to connect to your feelings and emotions. So whether that's your spiritual needs that you're feeling, whether you're really sad and you kind of need to feel that sadness. There's a lot of research that shows that if you're feeling bad and you play music that matches the way you're feeling, it helps us to modify our mood out of that and actually elevate our mood. And then you can play something that's a little less sad and a little less sad. And you'll find that you naturally kind of want to do that. There's something in our mind that connects us to that sort of progression of music in our emotions. So you need those three: the energizing playlist, the calming playlist, and the emotional playlist. Now, on your emotional playlist, you can cover all the different range of emotions that there are. So, it's your anger, it's your love life, it's your frustration, it's your sadness, anxiety, and anything in between, whatever that is for you. And I just wish all of you the most wonderful spring semester. And I am going to be sending Ms. Esposito some information about the music therapy department at WAU. Please contact me if you're interested in music therapy. We would love to see you there. Thank you so much.
So I have to be honest with you, this is kind of weird, right? Like, I went to Spencerville K through 12, graduated in 06, right? And here I am talking to you guys, and I'm sitting here thinking, in 05, 06, junior, senior, what would I have been thinking if I was sitting where you're sitting right now? And if I'm being honest, I would have been thinking, they don't get it, right? I'm just being really honest with you. If I was sitting there, I would have been thinking, no one gets it. And I would have been wrong. The thing about mental health is that we're seeing these Instagram videos. You can go on social media, you can go on YouTube and look it up, and everybody thinks they're an expert, right? And there's a lot of different answers, and there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes that creates even more confusion, and we end up feeling like we're alone and nobody gets it. And if you take nothing else from today, I want you to know you are not alone. And the ability to be a little bit vulnerable and a little bit transparent about where we are is one of the first steps in healing and getting help. I've been working with teenagers, specifically teenage girls, for about the last 5 to 6 years. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that later so you guys can hopefully connect with us. But the thing that I've learned is we're all kind of sitting around trying to figure out who we are and what we're about. And we end up doing that by comparing ourselves to other people and what other people are doing. One of the main sources of stress that I hear from young women is where you're spending your time, which is school. What else? Huh? Your phone, thank you. Your phone. Now, I would be a complete hypocrite to sit up here and tell you that I don't do the exact same thing. I'm on social media, I have to be for work, I wanna keep up with people, whatever. But let's be honest, it is the same place that we're going to kind of think we're relieving our stress or to be mindless. That's what we're doing, right? Is to we're scrolling through mindlessly, and the same place that we're going to get away from stuff is also creating stress and is also creating anxiety. So, main thing I wanna say to you is, we have to be as an intentional. Have you ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Never heard that? Am I that old? Okay, well.
I've heard that.
Thank you, Matthew. You are what you think. You are what you think about. The power of music, the power of what you spend your time doing, the power of the people that you spend time with. What you allow in here and what you allow to stay here matters. I give the example of your thoughts being like little airplanes flying above your head. You are the only person that decides which plane lands and which plane stays. There are a lot of things happening right now for you and for us, believe me, that feel out of our control. This is a huge source of anxiety and stress for people. I'm not in control. I want to share a secret with you. We're not in control of much in this life. That should give us, I know that sounds scary. It's not scary. When we own that and accept that there are things that are going to happen to and around us that we can't control, the only thing we can control is what? How we react, how we respond. That's it. That's what we own. And that's where that intentionality comes in of, what am I going to spend my time doing? Who am I going to do it with? Where am I going to go to relax? So for me, it's a drive in the car. Even when it's cold, I learned this from an old friend, in college. They would turn the heat up in their car and roll the windows down so they could get that fresh air, even when it was cold outside, and turn on a song, turn on some music that boosted their energy level. And let's be honest, guys, you know when you go to which song or which movie or which social media account, which ones lift you up and which ones drag you down. We cannot tell you which ones to click on and which ones to stay off of. Let's be real. You have control of that. So be intentional about where you spend your time, what you're looking at, what you're listening to, because I know you feel that range of emotions based on where you're going, right? So you are what you think about. Choose wisely.
I'll just share briefly because you guys hear me talk too much, I think. I was sitting there with the other coaches and the JV team yesterday, and I was telling them that, almost every morning I'll run 3 miles. And I joked and I said, I'm running 3 miles every morning and I'm still getting fat, so I don't know what to do about it. But I really don't exercise for how I look. I actually don't care as much anymore. I used to exercise to compete, to do better at sports, but now I simply do it for mental health. If I can go to bed on time and wake up at the same time, and if I can exercise, I'm right as rain. Those are the two things that I really need to do. My prayer life definitely helps. I agree with Erica. It's this recognition that we're not in control, but God is in control, and I rest in that, and I let God know what's going on. I take that as a given. But one thing I did want to share with you is that there's a reason that in hospitals around the United States, in Canada, in secular places too, they have what's called chaplains. There are pastors for these areas because they've found that from the spiritual side that if you're following your convictions, your mental health and your physical health improve. Doesn't matter what faith base you are, if you are walking in line with your convictions, you will heal better physically and mentally if you're following your convictions. And from a spiritual perspective, I would say one thing that will help you in your mental health is that you guys know the difference between what's right and wrong. And when you are constantly going against your conscience, which I have done, even though I've been a Christian a long time, that plays on you in a bad way for mental health. So my one kind of avenue would be make sure you're following what you know to be right. It might not be exactly what I think is right or even what your mom and dad or what we teach you is right, but you have to follow what you think is right, and that will help your mental health, and I think that'll help your relationship with God. And that's my 2 cents.
So thank you all for sharing your perspective. I was actually making a joke before we started that maybe you guys would cover everything, so I can just kind of pass and let them speak. But I will say something quick and brief. I think I'm sorry, the young lady, second lady, I forget your name already. What she said is very kind of important about the planes and kind of what's in our thoughts and what we allow ourselves to think about and what we allow ourselves what the planes we allow to land. But I think it's important to recognize that this stress and anxiety that you guys have experienced over the last several years, we never really had the chance or the ability to recognize that we needed to deal with anything like what you guys are dealing with. So for most of us, our anxiety and our stress, including the people on the stage, as well as you guys, have gone up in the last 2 years. And a lot of that, like you guys have already mentioned, is out of our control. So we have to focus on what we can control about that. What can we control about it? We can try to be as safe as we can. We can focus on what we can do today, right? So when you guys woke up this morning, you knew what you needed to do for today, right? You had to get dressed. Hopefully you got something to eat. Hopefully you took a shower. And you got stuff ready for school, got in the car, and you came to school. That's what you guys can control. Your daily life, staying present, focused, is what you can control. We can all think about, okay, for a lot of people in this room, okay, am I going to get into the college that I want to get into? Am I going to get on the basketball team? Am I going to get an A on my test? Some of those are normal, everyday stressors that we think about, and some of those things we can control. Okay, we have a test coming up. What can we control? We can study. We can prepare. We can take time out of our daily schedule to make sure that we're studying several days in advance because we know we have practice coming up that's going to be 2 hours, or we have a family get together over the weekend that we're not going to be able to get away from. So we have control of our time. We have control of what we choose to do. So you have control over being present, focused, recognizing that there are some stressors that are very natural that we can do something about, which is a test or an event coming up that maybe we're a little nervous about, or what I'm hearing about is the marriage and family situation that's going on now where people are preparing to propose to someone else in the class and how they're going to do that and who they're talking to, okay? Those are some stresses right now that some of you guys are probably going through that you are thinking about, how do I do that? Who do I talk to? How do I find out those answers? Those are stressors that you can kind of address. But when it comes to a higher level of stress or a higher level of anxiety, like those planes that we have all of them running around, like COVID, that's a higher level of anxiety probably for a lot of us, or graduating or making sure that we get into that college even though we applied to 10. There's one we really, really want, and now we've got to be thinking about what are we going to do to get there. You've probably already done it. You've done everything you can. You've applied, You've done your essay, you've sent your transcripts, but you're still worrying about it. So there's a healthy level of stress and worry, and there's a not so healthy level of stress and worry. Once you've done everything you can, is there a point in having that plane still circling around in your head? There's nothing else you can do at the moment. You can think about it, you can hope for it because it's something that you want, but if you worry about it and think about it to a level that maybe your stomach starts hurting often, or maybe you start getting tension headaches all the time, maybe you don't feel motivated to get up out of bed because you're just too tired, there's so much to think about. That's probably more of an unhealthy level of anxiety, which could be very natural for a lot of people in this room. I think most of us have gone through a high levels of stress or anxiety in something in our lives. So it's not something that some people might say are crazy or it's not normal. It is fairly normal. How we manage it is kind of the key to some of those things. Like the music therapy, right? Having that playlist, absolutely. I think I can, drive into high school, which kind of music that I want was going on that day, or you're warming up for a basketball game, what kind of music do you have on? It's certainly different than the music you're gonna have on when you're trying to go to sleep, or when you're trying to do your homework. It's all kind of different. But along with the music, there's some other things that you can do, like Pastor Matt said, running, exercising. For a lot of people, running is about clearing your head. It's not about exercising. It's just about having that space to kind of get that clarity, just kind of think clearly, and not worry about anything else in the world, just running and having that opportunity. For some people, it's exercise, it's music. For some people, it's writing. Some people love to journal. Some people love to do poetry. It's a way of kind of expressing how you feel, so some of those thoughts aren't so overwhelming because you're able to kind of process them and get them out. Pastor Med said praying. So, for some people, praying is very important. Having that relationship with God and talking to Him is very important as a way of kind of giving, like the shirt says, giving your worries to Him so you don't feel the weight of those worries on your shoulder. One of the key things that's important is recognizing the difference between, okay, I can handle this, and when it kind of gets overwhelming and you need some help. So don't forget, not that everyone on this stage, I'm sure we've all recognized that at some point in time we've needed to ask for help from someone. And that's okay too. The level of the things that we carry, I don't think are meant for all of us to handle on our own. And whether, like Pastor Matt said, whether it's with the help of God or whether it's help with a therapist, a friend, a parent, a counselor, social worker, pastor, I don't know, I'm probably skipping a whole bunch of people, but I think it's important to recognize that you don't have to be responsible for carrying it all yourself. So making sure that you can reach out for help, knowing who you can talk to. Sometimes there's friends that you can talk to, and sometimes there's friends that are that you can talk to, that are gonna lift you up and support you and understand, and sometimes there are gonna be friends that you're like, I might not wanna talk to that one about this, and that's okay. You know the people that you need to talk to get the help that you need at that time. And then we might not all wanna talk to our parents in this room. I'm pretty sure I didn't wanna talk to my mom a lot of times when I had stuff going on, so remember, maybe there's other people in your life that you feel like you can talk to when you need help, whether it's a pastor, an aunt, a cousin, someone else that you feel comfortable with. So part of recognizing the stress and anxiety and taking care of yourself is recognizing that it's okay to ask for help and who you can go to. I think is something important to remember, along with the music and the exercise, journaling, and the other things. Those are some important things to remember, that you don't have to do it alone and that you have that help. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good, good. So once again, my name is Mario Broussard, and I am also a psychotherapist and, just a friend of Spencerville and your chaplain and so many of most of your teachers, if not all of them. So it's just a blessing to be here. Listen, the question was, what was the best way, right? And, I love it, but at the same time, the best way is the way that works for you, right? And I wish we could just drop a bag of, of goodies and tools that just would heal you and everything would be great. But really and truly, the best way is the way that works for you and enhances the quality of your life, right? Because we know that there are ways to cope that are also unhealthy. And there are people that we cope with that are also unhealthy. So the two things that I want to leave with you are two things that I practice a lot. And that is, number one, I love sports. Who loves sports here? Watching it or playing it. I love basketball. Even though I'm not your age anymore, I still try to play ball every Monday night, and I'm always watching something. So that's one of the ways. There's something special about getting your blood moving and everything, and it's been mentioned, the benefits of exercise. But the second thing that I want to share with you is one that was touched on right before me, and it's something that I believe sometimes we use all the other coping mechanisms to hide this one. And that is simply talking about it, right? And it was just mentioned, but there's power in being able to face what it is that you're going through and be honest with yourself. So there are 7.8 billion people on planet Earth. And we believe that there's a God that set all of this stuff up. And as much as we need that God, I also believe the implication is that we need one another. Yeah. And so with 7.8 billion people on the planet, it's kind of ironic how separate and divided we are as individuals and as groups of people, because if I were the devil, that's the first thing that I would do, is make sure that everyone feels like they're alone on an island. And then when you separate them and single them out, then you can attack. That's what lions do to gazelle. That's what lions do to buffalo. They find the weakest one, they separate the herd, they separate the pack, and then they go for that one. And some of you feel like you're on that island because, for whatever reason. But I want to encourage you, there are individuals, especially in this community, that care about you. And I want you to just allow yourself to talk about it. And you'll find, this is my last one, you'll find that when you begin to talk about what you're going through, there'll be individuals, number one, who have been going through similar things, but number two, have been able to see that you're going through something and aren't as surprised that you're coming to them about something as you thought that they would be. We need each other. That's the bottom line. We need each other. And babies need to be held and touched. Individuals need hugs. They need a listening ear. Individuals, we thrive off of community, and so we need each other. And I just want to encourage you that you're not an island. You're not on an island, and that one of the ways that we're going to make it through everything we're going through is by being intentional about finding community. And so I hope that helps.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy Hughes. LCPC, a professional counselor. I also coach basketball, volleyball, soccer. I played at WAU. I played soccer for 2 years. Excellent experience. Biggest thing I saw with my youth, the youth that I work with, especially in coaching and in counseling, is about stress management and goal setting. With athletes, obviously it's very important to set goals, mid-season goals, preseason goals, end-of-season goals. If you want to go on to college, you want to do those things, you have to set those goals. And when we have goals that we're actually trying to work towards, the process gets much simpler. For the young people I do treat, I have a pretty simple ask of them is, where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 5 years? 35-year-olds don't typically think about that type of thing. High school students, college students should be. And when you look at where I am now, where I want to be in a year or 5 years, if we keep doing the same thing we're doing now, do we expect to get any better? Or do we expect to be in the same place or worse a year later, 5 years later? If you want to be here, you're here now and you're trying to get here, how do we meaningfully make choices every single day to get where we're trying to go? You can't flip the switch and earn all those things immediately. You'll just as quickly forget it. You'll flip that switch back off. So if we realize it's a dimmer switch, I have to turn it up every single day, every decision I'm making, how is it helping me get to my goal? As a high school student, as a college student, you see if I do this assignment, I'll get a better grade. Get a better grade, I have a better chance of getting to the college I want to go to. I work harder in practice. I got an opportunity to play college soccer where I didn't expect I would be able to. I did my due diligence, I did my work. I was given an opportunity to do that thing. I like the CBT approach, cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's the here and now. It's what we're doing every day, how we're building on it. And it's such a simple way of seeing how we can improve and how we can reach our goals. So that being said, the stress management of realizing here's where I am, that's where I want to go. How do I manage all of these stressors in a meaningful way to still reach those goals? We have to be very well aware and mindful of how much energy we have, how much emotional bandwidth and energy we have to put into each and every single one of these things that we're doing. Some things take too much energy and we can't afford them right now. So you cut those things back, and you set your priorities, and you use your stress management to achieve the goals that are the most important to us. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to a couple of other questions that not everybody has to answer, but feel free to answer if you like. So, Chris, go ahead.
How do you make sure you have time to do things you enjoy to help manage stress?
I'll answer that one. Testing, okay. I'll answer that one. So the last 2 years have been very eye-opening for me. And I recognized that I needed to prioritize the things that allow me to operate as my best self. And where I was more lackadaisical about it before, I've been very intentional about it now. So every morning at 7 a.m., I'm in the gym, right? And I sat down with my wife and I worked it out. And I said, hey, this is what I'd like to do. She agreed that was a good time. My entire life is centered around what happens before and after the gym. You know, and so when I'm in the gym, like it almost doesn't matter unless it's an emergency. I'm probably not deviating from going to the gym. And I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm the most high-functioning individual in the world, you know, but I've recognized that that's what I need. And so simply prioritizing it and making it, whatever it is, your greatest priority when it's in terms of how it's going to help you function. It's not rocket science, but it has been transformational for me, because when I come up out of the gym, I feel like I can almost do anything. And so making sure that those things that are important to you are your priority, that has been a real game changer for me the last couple years.
Okay, the next question is, how do you keep things from overwhelming you? Whoever wants to answer that.
Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but one of the things that working with a bunch of different pastors over the last 10 years, they say about me is that there are certain things that I'm okay not to care about. There are certain things that's like, I just don't care. It's like, it's not important. And I think I've always kind of been like that in high school. I remember, you know, wanting to do well in academics. But there's sometimes you got to choose between what you want to do. If you're going to spend time with friends or your family or sports, you got to be like, I don't care if I get a B. Like, it doesn't matter. And if I can't do this, that's all right. You prioritize what's important. The things that aren't as important to you, you got to be okay to say, I just don't care about that as much, and it's okay if it isn't as successful as the other things. And that helps for sure.
I think what you guys said actually goes together, because, right, you're only going to do well what you have the propensity, the energy for, right, to do. And so sometimes I think you feel overwhelmed and you think, I don't have time to like pray for, like take a moment out and get away from everything and go for a walk. I've thought that so many times. I don't have time to go for a walk. I don't have time not to. Every time I've intentionally taken that time, I don't care if it's 10 or 15 minutes away from what I have to do, I come back to what I have to do so much more able to accomplish that thing.
No, I was going to add that I think part of the challenge, at least what I hear at this, right now, right in high school, I think about is, okay, I don't always have a choice, right? Because my science teacher gave me this project, my English teacher gave me this test, I have a test tomorrow. Like, how am I supposed to do all of that and not feel overwhelmed? So some of it kind of feels like, yes, there is that propensity, like, okay, so if I don't take that walk, I'm not taking care of myself. I need to take that walk because then that gives me the energy to do the other things. But sometimes it's hard to see that when I have all these things lined up and they're all due tomorrow, or at least within the next 24 to 48 hours. So I think trying to take care of yourself and recognizing kind of what you need to do. So like if you get home from school, I wouldn't encourage you to jump right into your homework. I would take some time, take a break, do one of the healthy coping things, listening to music, going for a walk, doing something that kind of creates a healthy balance for yourself, and recognizing how to create that, which is a challenge even for adults, even at my age adults, to do that, because we do have a lot of things on our plate. So kind of recognizing, okay, so if I go home and I already feel stressed and tired, what do I need to do? Do I need to watch a TV show? Do I need to read my Bible? Do I need to listen to music? Okay, now I need to get to my homework, but then there's dinner. And just kind of learning throughout your day, throughout your week, how to kind of balance that out so that you feel comfortable doing what you need to do. There are going to be times that you feel overwhelmed. We all do. But if we recognize how we create that healthy balance, then we can kind of go back to that and kind of keep that on a daily basis and kind of use that for the rest of our lives as we're moving forward. That works for us to kind of maintain a normal stress level without getting so overwhelmed.
What if you don't know the source of your stress? How do you find out what it is?
What if you don't know the source of your stress? How do you find out what it is? That's a good question.
I would say that would be a good place to go and talk to your school counselor, talk to your parents maybe and say, I've got this stress, I don't know what it is, is there someone I can talk to? That's where I think sometimes you need to go to someone who's been trained to help you figure it out. That's hard to always be able to do by yourself.
I'd like to add too that I think that our generation, and when I say our generation, I'm speaking this side of television, right? Television, was it the 40s? I don't know when the television came into play. But it sounds like a very long time ago, but I believe that we are the first generation that had at our fingertips, from television to gadgets to iPads to phones and everything, we have at our fingertips the opportunity to never have a quiet moment if we don't want to. Like, I don't know that it's ever been, like usually back in the day when the candle ran out, then you had to go to sleep, right? Or you couldn't see by the moonlight, right? Then you had to stop writing. I mean, that's not any of our day, but that's how it used to be. But and then you did simple things, and you had time for reflection. But I believe that we're the first generation, so to speak, where we never have to have a quiet moment if we don't want to. And I think that's really detrimental to our mental health and our well-being. And so I believe, along with speaking with someone who could help you figure that out, if we're quiet long enough, those thoughts will begin to come to mind. When's the last time you sat in silence for 5 minutes? I'm not looking at someone, not making funny faces, not texting, occasional scrolling, but like quiet. And we're afraid of that. Why? Because if we do that, then we'll begin to think about what it is that's causing us anxiety and depression, right? And so being intentional about training yourself to just have a few minutes of silence may help you figure out pretty well what's going on with you. And then you can go see those individuals who could encourage and bring more of that out of you, and you may have a recipe for success there.
What is the harm of negative emotions for ourselves and others?
Read it again, please.
What is the harm of negative emotions for ourselves and others?
Well, if you're feeling a lot of stress, anxiety, frustration, anger, and it's constant, it can really interfere with your ability to live your life the way you want to. Also, it raises your cortisol level, so that is a hormone that you don't want running in your body all the time. It's not good for you. So trying to manage those emotions and lower your stress level is really good for your overall health, your physical health and mental health.
I think having negative thoughts, like, negative fortune telling, already recognize then, okay, well, no matter how much I'm studying, I'm going to fail this test anyway. Or no matter what I do, I'm not going to get into this college. Or no matter what, this bad thing is going to happen. Having that kind of negative fortune telling, kind of overthinking, thinking about all those could've, should've, would'ves, maintaining all those negative thought processes can definitely impact how you view things, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the morning when you wake up, how you feel about school, how the day's gonna go, how you feel about your friendships, your relationships. So carrying those negative emotions not only can impact you and how you feel about yourself or how you view the world, but can also impact how you interact with other people and what you expect. Oh, well, even if I treat them right, they're still not gonna be my friend. Or even if I do this, they're still not gonna be that. So it impacts you as well as it impacts other people. So trying to minimize those negative thoughts, trying to talk yourself through them to recognize, okay, can I really predict that even if I study hard, I'm gonna fail? No, you can't. So you have to kind of remember and kind of check yourself with those negative thoughts to see if you can kind of change them and minimize them so that it doesn't impact how you feel about yourself or how you feel about other people or how you interact with other people.
How does one tell the difference between regular level of stress versus higher levels of anxiety?
I think when you can't function like normal, then you know you need help. And that's happened to me a few times where it's like, okay, what I need to do, I'm so worried about that I'm not able to do it. That's when you know you've gone beyond regular stress, because good stress motivates you to do something. Too much stress and anxiety cripples you. When you find yourself crippled, you got to make a decision either to give up one thing, like I said, I don't care, I'm just not going to do this one thing, or you can come talk to someone if you have to do all those things and figure out, how can I get help to do this, because I can't do it all on my own. So, yeah.
I think recognizing the triggers that you might have that changes, like if you recognize in yourself that, oh, normally I can study for this is fine, or normally I can get to practice okay, or normally Saturday I'm jumping out of bed and going to church, but okay, the last couple weeks I haven't felt able to do that, or I haven't felt good about this. And kind of recognizing your own changes in your emotions, or maybe, at least I know for me, if I get more snappy with people, if I'm more quick or short-tempered, then I know that's more about me and something that I've been triggered, that I'm overstressed or I'm overwhelmed, than it is about other people around me. So kind of learning your own emotions and kind of learning your own triggers to kind of really help you self-regulate and help you kind of recognize the difference between a normal stress and, okay, things are starting to get to the point, like you said, that I can't function. So if we can kind of see it early, then that can kind of help us hopefully not get to those high levels of anxiety, but kind of maintain a healthy level of stress before it gets to that high level of anxiety.
Can I just say real quick, if you're feeling that way and that thought is like, I've always been able to do this before, I've always been able to deal with this before, there's two paths you can take. One is the spiral of, I should be able to, I should be able to, I should be able to, and it is a spiral. The other one is, okay, I've been able to do this before, this time it's feeling really hard, I'm not able to function, I'm not able to do this, I need to get some help. Two very clear paths there. Don't beat yourself up if you're feeling like, I've been able to do this before, now I can't. It's okay, it happens.
Okay, and our last question, just kidding. Thank you so much to our speakers. Everybody please give them a round of applause for being here.
Thank you. This, I believe, was very helpful, and I hope that each one of you take away something that you can use when you need it. I can't even begin to tell you how thankful I am, and I'm asking you not to leave for a little while. Then I want to put one slide over here, and this is just the closing thought. You see it okay, maybe I can read it anyway. Always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and love more than you know. Thank you. I sent this to my daughter this morning at 6. She is the youngest one. I told you about her. She's working at catering currently with COVID patients. In these last 2 weeks, she had been in a dark valley of the shadow of death. Every patient that I admitted passed away. So it's overwhelming. And last night we prayed for an easy day today, and at 6 in the morning, she's like, Mom, 2 of my patients that I admitted yesterday are gone. They died this morning. What can you say more than this? You can find strength in the Lord, and He loves you more than you know. He takes care of you, so we do as well. Count on us, seek out for help when you need it, and may God keep you strong through this difficult time that we're living. Now, before you go, I would like to tell you that we have a little gift for each one of you, and at this time, even if we make a mess over here, I'm going to ask the Care Club members, like 10 of you, to come over here, grab a bag. So before you leave, Mr. Soper is going to dismiss you by classes. Thank you so much to the people that help with, computers and video cameras and all that. Each one of you can pick one of these, a stress ball with the logo of the Care Club, or how we call this now, puppet or something like that? Okay. And we also have a nice bookmark. But I know that Miss Jones brought something else. You want to tell them quickly what is it? Or how to deal with that?
Yeah, I just want you guys to know, there's some flyers out here on the table. We've been running Gorgeous to God for the last 5 years. That's our mentoring program for young women. It's free, it's anonymous. You can literally write to us about anything, and it's not like, I hope they answer my question. We do answer your question within 24 hours. So you can connect with us. There's posters and cards out there for Gorgeous to God, but I'm really excited to tell you that this week we're launching one for guys. It's called A Rugged Journey. Information is out there. Please, guys, connect with us. We're a community that we want to help you answer your toughest questions in a really safe space.
All right. Let's give our, talented panelists a round of applause. Thank you so much. So, 1, not 2, and then the bookmark. And if you're a member of the Care Club, we need you to stay for 5 minutes, no more. Teachers, please excuse them if they're late, just a little late. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Great information, and thank you again, everybody, for that. Pick up your free gift on the way out. Freshmen, you're closest. I think that makes sense to go. Freshmen, go ahead and dismiss them.
I don't know if I feel more stressed or less stressed.
That's extra for everybody else, right? Because the freshmen are going to throw those up and down the hallway. And